Hey, beautiful shining stars. So, if I tell you that I had already created this lesson and Spirit made me delete the entire lesson, would you believe me? Okay, so I don't know exactly why they made me do it, but I was gonna relook at it because human egos be like, "Why don't you watch? It's like 50 minutes." Da 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 da. And I was like, no, Spirit says to delete it. They know exactly why, and it's going to be deleted. And I didn't even look at it, and I just deleted it. So here we go. So today's vibration is living beyond your means. And I see this over and over in a lot of my clients. I was one of the ones that lived beyond her means because a lot of gurus and manifesting teachers will tell you that you need to like spend freely, and if you want to be abundant, the more money I spend, the more money comes, and yada yada yada. So you always feel, and especially like when you have the poverty mindset, and you get like $5, you're thinking about all the things that you don't have and that you want to have, especially material things, like cars and nice cars. I remember way back when iPhone first came out. I think it was the 90s, maybe 2000, early 2000s, and I was like, I want an iPhone. And I remember it was so expensive and I didn't have the money to have an iPhone. And I remember my best friend would like make fun of me because she's like, "You're so obsessed with the iPhone, you want an iPhone." And I've never been like crazy about phones and stuff. It was just like the hype, that everybody had it, and I was like, it's so cool, and the pictures, and I just really, really wanted an iPhone. Would you believe that I don't own an iPhone? I think I've had one iPhone in all the years that I've had phones. I don't like Apple iPhones. I don't like nothing about them. Maybe, later along the lines, I might change my mind. But the point that I'm sharing is that sometimes we want things because other people have them, or we think that we want them. I can't tell you exactly what happened to me and why I don't like iPhone. One of the main reasons I don't like is that I like when like my Google and stuff like that knows like my passwords, and it's very easy for me to get stuff. If I want to download an app, that I don't have to worry if it's not compatible with iPhones. Just like a lot of little things that when I had my iPhone, it was very like stressful and frustrating. Like if you lose your password, if you don't have a cloud that you keep adding and adding to, you can't like save your files. It was just like a lot of little things. I felt like they were very money hungry, and I'm not saying that Android is any better, but for me it's more comfortable. Like if I don't want to like add certain things, I don't have to add them. So anywho, point is that sometimes we feel like we want something, and then when we get it, it's not our thing, it's not our click. So I always find, especially I'm a lot older, so I've had a lot of experience, I've lived a lot of moons. So you notice life very differently, especially when you get to be like my age, looking back at who I was when I was younger, like revisiting my journals and seeing like what I talked about and what I liked, and it was just very, very different, So when I'm sharing with you living beyond your means, I wish that my younger self would have known this. I did learn, and I think this was more in towards my 30s. What I would do was I had like a list of things that I needed for, let's say, my work, or especially like if I went to school. So when I would get a few $1,000s, I would execute the list. If I needed a computer, if I needed a printer, whatever I needed, I got the money and I would purchase the thing that I needed. Because I would notice, especially being still in my 30s, still being young, still having young kids, wanting to do things with them, going out, restaurants, my thing that I would say is, if you don't buy the things that you need, you're going to spend it on McDonald's and Burger King. I would always say that because it was so true. Like if I didn't take the money and put it towards the things that I needed, per se for my businesses, and that time I was going to school, then I would spend it on taking my kids out, or, buy McDonald's and Burger King. Because then you're like, where'd the money go? And if you look back, you don't know where the cash went. I had someone that said, always have your money in larger bills, because if your money is in larger bills, it's harder for you to want to use them. And there's places that doesn't accept large bills, So it's like a lot of little things that I learned along the way. So let's break down living beyond your means. So like I shared, living beyond your means was that I felt that you had to spend freely. Like I felt like, and don't get me wrong, like once you get to a place that you have so much wealth, you are going to be able to spend more, and it's going to be fine because it's compatible with your earnings. It's compatible with the money that's coming in, but you don't want to spend more than what you are receiving. And another thing to share is that sometimes we live beyond our means. And, I saw this in myself, and I see this in my clients, that they only make X amount of money and their bills surpass that or right there next to it. So then how are you going to pay yourself first if you have to pay the large mortgage or rent, pay all the utilities, and then we have all these different insurances now that we have to have. You have to have car insurances. You have to have home insurances. So thinking about, going back to when we did the budget, this is kind of like a recap of it. So you could organize yourself in such a way that you are putting more towards yourself and your wealth. And it's going to feel good. Like per se, I used to spend money on DoorDash, and I think I've talked about this quite some times. Of course, especially when we were during the pandemic, DoorDash, must have made $1 trillion because we were at home. I was working my business and I was really, really busy. So every time we ordered DoorDash, it was like $50. Think about it. You're spending on one meal $50. Like, how much is that a week? And we wouldn't use it every day, but my daughter says, Mom, I think I spent like $10,000 in DoorDash this year. And it's just like crazy when you think about stuff like that. So one of the things that I did was I ordered like HelloFresh. So that way everything was planned out for me. All I had to do was cook, and it became like a therapeutic type thing, because before, cooking was like a chore that I didn't want to do. And I think I've talked about this before too. And now when I cook, it's more like therapy. I enjoy it. So let's get into the printable. Okay. So here's just space for you to really like write down where you think that you are living beyond your means. Because until you, and I'm sure you saw it when you did the budget, if you did the budget, things that are like, okay, I should definitely try to cut that down. One of the things that I had was my Amazon Prime. I had a lot of little subscriptions to different like channels. And then the worst part was that I wasn't even watching any of this stuff. And I remember there was one month that I spent like $200 on Amazon Prime channels. And it was just ridiculous. So here I added a little weekly planner for you to just look at each and every day how much you spend. And I think just by doing this for 1 week, you will be able to see where your money is going. Again, another thing that I used to do was Starbucks. I used to go to Starbucks, and every day, sometimes it was only $5, but sometimes it was 20 or more. So if you think about 5 days, going to Starbucks is $100. So, of course I have my Nespresso machine now that I work towards. And of course, you guys, my supporters, help me through my my coffee app. We did that, and that was amazing. I did a whole video on it, and now I make my coffee at home. So instead of spending $100 a week on coffee, I spend $50 a month, and that's indulging because I buy the coffee that I love. I buy the additives that I want to add to my coffee that I love, and they're not cheap. But even then, the whole thing is $50 a month, give or take. Sometimes I'll try a new coffee because I ordered the Nespresso, or if this new coffee came out, but it's still way less than what I used to spend a week. You can't even come close. So these are, I went from 3,500 a month in spending and bills and all that stuff. I brought it all the way down to 2,800. All the way down to 2,800. And my rent alone is 2,000. So think about that. So I think that was it. So I gave you all of this free paper. Just take a jot, go through your day, if you could sit with your budget, like me, like I'm able to look, because I have my business account and then I have my personal account. So I'm able to look like, okay, where's my money going? What am I spending on? Because like, I know I need Canva, so I have to pay for that. I know I need my printer and my ink, so I have to pay for that. I know like this month I'm doing marketing for my Kickstarter. So those are things that are more like investments towards my business, right? At the end of the year, I could write it off as, taxes. That's another great thing about having your business, that you could like pretty much write everything off. And this is why multimillionaires pay such little taxes. So take your time with this, okay? And really be honest with yourself. Like, what can you live without? And I don't want you to do stuff that makes you feel poor. Like, I'm going to give you a perfect example. When I used to coupon, because now I coupon now, but definitely not as much as I used to before. I used to feel really abundant because I had so much stuff. Like, I remember that I had a pantry full of stuff. I had one time a closet full of Dawn's, Head and Shoulders, Pantene. I mean, you name it. And when there was coupons, and I used to go dumpster diving for these coupons, and of course, back then it was way easier. The whole thing with TLC kind of changed a lot of policies, so now it's a little harder. But a great place, if you have a CVS is a great place to coupon. And it's a lot of fun. Of course, I would have to go by myself or my granddaughters and stuff, so they could have like a little adventure with me, because my husband would be like so annoyed, because it would take me a while, because I had to, you have to be savvy. You have to know your numbers. So there's a lot of time and effort and energy that goes into couponing. It was fun though. It was such a fun project. Just right now, I don't have time for anything. So, like, I know that the Tide at Target will sometimes, if you buy like $30 to $50 worth of like, laundry stuff, they'll give you $10 to $20 back. So what I'll do is I'll buy what I need. I'll have that for a few months. And then I will use the coupons, because you get the coupons in the mail, so you don't have to do anywhere. And you could also go, I think it's procterandgamble.com that has those coupons. So like little things like that I will do, because it's so easy, and saving $20 feels good. I'm sorry. But there's people that feels poor to them, that feels poverty. So if that feels poverty to you, then don't do it, because it's all energy. To me, it feels abundance, because I feel like I'm taking that money I'm saving and I'm paying myself. And I do that. I'll go home with the money that I didn't spend, and I'll put it in my little, saving, because what is my goal? $15,000 put away. So just be savvy, like I said, there's things I indulge in. Every month I buy $30. It costs for my Nespresso Starbucks Colombian espresso that I love. If I go to the store, I think they're $8.99, and for $30 I get, I'm not gonna say double, but I get a lot more, so it lasts about a month. What else? My caramels, I go to Ghirardelli. I had once, or I'm gonna say maybe like twice, 3 times a month, I will go to Disney Springs, which I love, and I'll have like coffee, or I'll go to Blaze Pizza, which is amazing. I go to the movies. So these are things that represent wealth to me. And I don't spend a lot of money, even though the last time we went to the movies, we did go a little crazy. It's my daughter's fault, because I told her I like to go to Disney Springs, because I kind of have like what I do. And we went to another theater because she thought it was going to be better, and we spent ridiculous money that was not even worth it. Anywho, we did have fun. We went to Burger, so it was a very nice indulgence. It feels nice. Another thing, you don't want to feel guilty about doing things that feel good to you. So you need to balance that out. Like, I have this thing that if I go out, I say I'm taking X amount of money, and I try not to go it. But then I also do have X amount of money extra. So if I do want to tap into that extra, it's there. Because one of the worst things, and for me, that felt like very poverty stricken, is not having, like, if I'm saying I'm going again to Disney Springs and there's a journal that I want, but I'm already beyond my budget, not getting it, that feels poverty to me. So you better believe I'm going to buy it, because it's not like I'm out there hoarding products, you know? It's more of like, this is something that feeds my soul, that I love, and it feels nice. It makes me feel wealthy to do these things. So overall, it's just balancing the feeling of wealth without overdoing it, you know? When you get to the status that you could buy yourself a Coach because you love Coach, not because somebody has it and oh my God, the wealthy have it, or they have it on social media. No, because you want it, because it's gonna feel good to you, because it represents you, you know. And that's the thing with social media, because every time I get on social media, it's like, oh, I want that, oh, I want that, and then you think about it, it's like, no, I don't. What am I gonna do with that? So it's fine to look at things, fine to window shop, it's fine to go out and have coffee in a very nice place to feel the energy, but learn how to balance it out. Don't overindulge, because I don't know about you guys, but it just feels to me so much better seeing my pot of gold growing, you know, going into the money that I'm paying myself and seeing it grow and grow and grow. And then I'm not counting it, because that's one of the things Spirit said to me, is don't count it, because then if it's not as much as I thought it was, then you feel less, because you're like, oh, I'm putting all this money in, it should have been this by now. So I'm not doing that until, especially that I'm waiting for a big deposit. Once I get that big deposit, then I'll sit down and I'll count everything, and then it'll be like, whoa, and then I'll be in that super duper gratitude, overexcited, crazy vibrational energy that I get into. Do what works best for you. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because one of the things that I always tell everybody is, you have your own truth. My truth and your truth is not going to be the same. My manifesting and your manifesting levels are not going to be the same. There's going to be things in this wealth class that are going to be super to you, and there's going to be things that are not going to work for you, and that is okay. The point is, you're always expanding, you're always growing, you're always learning, and you're always moving forward. I feel that the world is under a huge shift right now. Spirit told me not to focus on the problems of the world, that I have my purpose to do the things that I needed to do. I apologize for that. I know it's loud. I can't control Messenger. That's why usually I'll like have it off, or do my videos in airplane mode so that doesn't happen. So as I was saying, Spirit had told me that I needed to stop focusing on so much on what's going on in the world and start focusing on my work and how I could cause a positive ripple effect. Because if I'm also adding to the negative energy or focusing on the negative energy, because I tend to get like, I'm going to say even angry when I see certain things, and I'll comment and I'll so Spirit's like, I don't want you to involve yourself in that. Just focus on what you're doing and what you're working on with your clients. And believe it or not, I'm creating this little area for the video way back after. As a matter of fact, today I was working on more. This is one of the most powerful tools that you have in this class, because this is a divine energy of prosperity. And if you know, as I'm recording this, I already did the class Ask and How to Ask. And one of the things, if you read the verse in the that was shared, it says the ask in my name. So, and I've been studying the greats and everything that goes on with that, and I felt when I read that, and I think I talked about it, you know, when I did the video, is that asking my name is what I'm doing here, what I shared with you guys. So this is really important. This doesn't take a lot. So simply enough, before you go to bed, you know, if you want to take a picture of it. And in the magical class, I am creating kind of like pictures, so you could just have on your phone That way, you know, a lot of you sleep with your phones right next to you. So that way, before you go to bed, you could gaze upon the name and live. You know, sometimes I will go into my visualizing, and while I'm gazing at the name, I will visualize, you know, like I showed you guys how to expand out your energy, physical, expand out spiritual self, and creating the reality you desire. So by focusing on the name and just gazing, you know, I have people that freak out. I have this client right now that I don't know how else to explain it to her, because she'll message me the same, how do you say the name, and how do you say the name? And I think I've told you this before a couple of times. So you don't, it's not so much on the say the name. The power is in the gaze of the name and what you're connecting with, because you have to understand, humans are very as the fairies called us, very clumsy. We're very dense, we're very slow, we don't use our noggin. So the ascended masters, the greats, the higher powers use telepathy. How many times have you had dreams where you see yourself or you see someone and you don't speak? It's all, you know what they're thinking. You connect with your mind. So that's the vibration that I felt when you do this. It's all the mind, especially when you go into the theta energy right before bed. So I brought this up because, like I said, I'm closing this video so I can finally upload it, you know, about, you know, how to live, you know, how not to live beyond your means, living beyond your means. And, you know, I feel like overall, Spirit doesn't want you to feel like you're being controlled in any way, you know, especially if you're trying to be extremely wealthy. And this is the point of this. So something that I tell my clients is, you know, what does wealth mean to you? Like, what is the definition of wealth to you? And we did work on that already. I mean, you guys have a binder? This is mine. This is me here with you. Look at this. This is all our work together, plus all the things that I added, synchronicities, because then as I'm doing this work, Spirit is sending me articles and videos, and my nose is killing me, articles and videos and just clues and just so much. So I add everything. So whatever messages you get, make sure you add them. You know, if it's an article, if it's an email, print it out, put it in your, I love it. I love having these because, again, this is stuff that I'll come back to later and I'll be like, oh my God, oh, I'm going to try this again, you know, because we forget stuff or we go into the next project, you know. So the point of today's energy is don't make it difficult. It's just that I see a lot of people with the same situation, that they think that in order to feel wealthy, that they have to spend a lot of money. And that is not the case. Is you spend as what you have. You don't want to overdo it, because then what you're doing is you're sabotaging your wealth and you're not investing. I hope this brought a lot of insights. I'm going to put it all together and finally upload it. I send you love and light, and namaste.